the best thing that you can hope for, they can hope for, is that they can have some sustainable increases in their short-term interest rates and normalize those on the back of obviously having a sustainable outlook for inflation, and then that will allow basically the yen to finally find a sort of equilibrium.
If you get a higher interest rate regime, I believe that means, help me here, Paul, yield up, price down.
That's what they tell me.
Is it a devaluation, a depreciation of the wealth of Japan?
Well, to some extent. I mean, when you have when the currency is weakening, there's obviously a terms of trade effect, which means the real income of the Japanese people, in some sense, will be less in sort of global terms. So there's definitely a depreciation, from that side of things. But at the same time, I mean, at the end of the day, their potential growth is very low. There's a lot of damage has been done with very low negative inflation over the years. And that creates all sorts of social tensions.
Critical. One final question on this. They have an experiment of reflation to get away from the cultural decades of disinflation and outright deflation. Dr. Konstam, is that experiment failed?
No, I think it's too soon to say. I think you can be sort of somewhat optimistic that Japan is getting out of its hole. I mean, you've now taken interest rates back to like 2010, 2011 levels. There's the lost. There's been a lost decade. There were lost decades before, sort of thing. But they've kind of got themselves out of that hole. So I think the outlook for Japan is somewhat constructive, especially if they can get a virtuous circle of wage inflation and price inflation, albeit at low levels, that keeps a positive interest rate. I mean, positive interest rates, are a good thing in terms of return on capital, and they'll support risky asset markets as well. So that's kind of the idea, this sort of adjustment. And Japan, traditionally has been obviously a big exporter of capital because there haven't been opportunities at home in Japan, and that's why they've had this sort of massive current account surplus, and over time that's obviously is correcting in a hopefully sustainable way.